Now, I just got back, as you know, from Taiwan. I was on a fact-finding expedition there on a whole range of things, mostly on the national security and economic front because Taiwan is critical for, well, the world actually on those issues, and I'll be explaining more of that. But uh, how many murders do you think Taiwan's a country of 23 million people? How many murders do you think Taiwan had last year? Let me see. About 200 in the whole country of 23 million people. There are 2 million people in Chicago, and Chicago had 778 murders in 2020. Last year, I know. Let's say they're running at about 600 murders a year on average for the last few years, because it's usually above 600. But we'll be generous. We'll say about 600 murders. So Chicago, a city of 2 million, has 3 times the total murder rate of the entire nation of Taiwan with 23 million people, with multiple cities that have over 2 million people. I think we can see what's going on here, right? And you might be thinking, well, what is it like to be, and I hadn't had this experience in quite some time. What's it like to be in a place that feels really safe? Well, when I was walking through a a park at about 10 o'clock at night, a public park in the downtown of Taipei, the main city, there were families in the park at night who were just enjoying, because it's nice and warm there. It's very similar climate actually to South Florida. It's nice and warm there. And all they had were some lamps providing an ambient light from the city. It's quite a city, Taipei. But you had families sitting on the park benches, in the playgrounds, just like as if it was broad daylight. There's no concern about I can't be in a park at night because bad things will happen. And there were little kids running around playing, parents sitting on the benches, watching from afar. And I had people writing to me, "Oh, Buck, but it's like that in my town in South Dakota, or it's like that in my town of 500 people in, South Carolina or something." And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's nice, but this is a city of millions of people consolidated together in one place, and it's as safe as a town of a few thousand in a very red rural part of America. It is as safe as that. So you say, well, it must be possible. One of the other anecdotes I have for this, which I thought was so interesting, was that people would do this thing where you would be in a cafe and they would put their phone down. And I would say to myself, wait a second. They'd get up to go to the bathroom and they would leave their phone at their $1,000 iPhone or whatever at their seat. I had never seen this before, right? When I lived in Midtown Manhattan, I was worried that somebody was going to reach into my pocket when I was sitting there drinking my coffee and try to take my phone. They leave their phone there to mark their seat, to save their seat while they go to the bathroom. And no one, and this is what you have to understand. I asked some of the locals about this. No one thinks this is odd. They're like, yeah, of course. They want everyone to know. It's like if you're at a buffet at a hotel and you leave your napkin on the table so everybody knows that you're sitting there. They do that with their smartphone in public places where people are coming and going on the street. No big deal. High trust society, a place where people do not have to be worried, do not have to be concerned about crime because it is not a realistic concern for them. Now, I'm not saying we're going to be able to turn Chicago into Taipei in terms of safety and security. It would be nice, but that's not going to happen. I do point it out, though, because we should know what is possible. We should know that there are cities with millions of people living together where there is basically no concern whatsoever about crime. And then use that as a comparison to, say, Chicago, where there is far too much crime for far too long. It doesn't have to be this way. Crime is a choice. Society makes a choice about how much crime it will tolerate. But crime is a choice. We don't have to deal with things the way that they are. And unfortunately, what you see from the mayor of Chicago and from Governor Pritzker is they don't want it to get better. They want this status quo. The same way that the Taiwanese people, and I say I love Taiwan and I love the Taiwanese people. They really endeared themselves to me, top to bottom. Everybody I dealt with there, everyone is so polite and considerate and friendly, and it's just a great place. It's a great place. The same way that they are proud and they should be, because I talk to them, they kind of giggle, they laugh when I'm saying, "Well, it's so safe here. How is this? Little old ladies walking around midnight by themselves on the streets, not a care in the world. Kids walk. I didn't take the subway there. I took their high speed trains to get around the countryside because I had some places I had to go. But they do have people will get on these trains. I thought I was sitting in the quiet car. If you've ever taken the Acela from DC to or Boston down to DC with a New York stop, I thought I was in the quiet car. No, that's just people are just quiet and respectful. They're not all, playing their iPhones on speakerphone. They're not all shouting. They're not all loud talking. I thought I was in a quiet car. I was just in a Taiwanese rail car. People just all being respectful, and there's no trash. There's no trash anywhere. I mean, whether in the high speed train or on the streets, there's no litter. Isn't that amazing? It turns out you don't have to have people just dropping their Big Mac wrappers wherever they're walking. It doesn't have to be that way. And we could all be in a place that is much safer in this country, in the big cities, if we were willing to make the necessary decisions as a society. You get the crime you tolerate. It is not a given. It is not, there's no way out of this status quo. But when you have people like Mayor Johnson who don't want it to get better, it won't get better. You are locked into this. This is cut 24. Here he is saying that really this is about a war on poor people that Trump is waging. Play.
This is not about deportation. This is not about community safety. This is, quite frankly, this is about for profit. We know that there is an investigation right now that's underway with Tom Homan, who took $50,000 from two FBI agents because Tom Homan made a promise to direct contracts to the very people who are running these detention centers who actually gave over almost $3 million to President Trump's campaign. The President of the United States of America has declared war on poor people. And if there was ever a time for working people to stand up across this world, the time is now.
What a just rabble-rousing, lying jerk this guy is. War on poor people? Trump's trying to keep poor people from getting shot. All right, look, do you have a plan to stay connected with your family or coworkers in the event of a natural disaster? We suggest Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are modern-day walkie-talkies that are a literal lifeline if power goes out for several days or cell service becomes unstable. Rapid Radios work on a nationwide LTE network, so you can communicate across the country or down the street with the single push of a button. They're ready to go out of the box and have a 5-day battery charge. With no monthly fees and pre-programmed simplicity, Rapid Radios keep you connected when everything else goes dark. Visit rapidradios.com today. You'll save 60% when you visit that website. Use promo code radio, get an extra 5% off. Trusted, tested, legit. Visit rapidradios.com. That's rapidradios.com.